is I'll take this episode and I'll do a
What is up, ShadowZone podcasters? It's me, the zone host, the ghost host with the most, Brian James. And with me tonight is that man from the other star in the galaxy, Mr. Alien Man himself, Big Cat.
RAR.
That's right, buddy. Happy Saturday, brother.
Is it Saturday? I thought it was Friday.
Dude, you're a day late and a taco short, man.
Dude, I'm a whole combination plate short. Let's be real.
Holy crap, dude. I just realized something. I just completely played everything Saturday, and it's indeed Friday.
For once, I was on time.
All right, well, happy Friday, Cass.
Happy Friday to you too, Sal.
And happy Friday to everybody watching. Before we get on to our awesome show tonight, we have Heather Landon from the Warren Society Foundation. But before we get to that, the ShadowZone Paranormal Podcast and Global United Paranormal Foundation is sponsored by Ghost Energy Drink. If you're investigating and you're tired and worn out, grab yourself a ghost and get that paranormal energy flowing once again. And also, Cass, did you know that there's a platform out there in the internet that is free to download? It has a Facebook/YouTube-like atmosphere. And it's drama-free only for the paranormal.
I have heard of it, but I can't remember the name. Could you tell us what it is?
Well, of course I can. It's the Parapost Network. You can go to your Google Play Store, download the app for free. It runs on iOS. It runs on Android. You can download it on your laptop and computer. And hey, if you don't want the app, that's all cool. All you got to do is type in parapost.net, and man, you're golden to go. And speaking of Parapost, this is Para. This is what you will find when you find the app in the Play Store. So, Cass,
Yo.
what do you think about our wow, I'm drawing a blank. Our guest tonight.
So far, I like her a lot. Seems like she's like sort of doing what I always dreamed of doing, which is putting real science along with high strangeness to prove exactly what's real and what's not. I like her a lot. So it's just so far, I've only spent her a few minutes with her, and already, I mean, she's got a great sense of humor and she's smart.
Absolutely. Now, imagine spending a couple hours with her here on the podcast.
I don't think my brain could handle it.
Yeah. Nicole Ghosting Paranormal, what is up? And yeah, I know it's Friday. I was just ribbing everybody. God. You know what,
Hey,
Kat?
For me, this was a first.
You see these three fingers right here, buddy? Can you read between the lines?
It says Cassidy is a genius and you should always listen to him. Yeah, no, I can read that perfectly.
Oh, dude, Air 5, you got that complete. All right, guys, without any further ado, we're going to bring on Heather to the show so we may torture her with our boredom and a bunch of random questions that might possibly make her feel uncomfortable. Hello, Heather.
Hey, guys.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, considering how I got my opening completely wrong, thinking it was Saturday when it's Friday. Other than that, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah, but you surfed it like a boss.
Yeah, that's right. Like a boss. So, Heather, I mean, good evening. I mean, it's 10 o'clock your time, and, we really appreciate you staying up with us and hanging out.
I think she froze.
Heather, are you there?
Either that or your face shocked her into silence.
It is that ghoulish good look.
I would say rakish, to be honest. You got that. You got that look.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think we
look up in the corner. We got ourselves a mad face.
A mad face? Where? Did she give us a mad face?
I don't think so.
Who gave us a mad face? Oh,
I want to know who was it. Okay. No, Heather's internet went out and she's logging back in.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So now we have to find a way to entertain our audience for a few minutes. Cass.
Whatever should we do?
Go do a dance.
Do a little dance. Make a little love. Talk about aliens today. Talk about aliens today.
I knew I could get you to do it. And it took me less than 10 minutes to get you to do
it. Oh, did you win a bet?
All right. Let's see. We have...
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was Cass's goofy-looking face that scared you away.
No, and it was funny because I could still see me, but you guys were frozen, and then next thing I know, my internet completely cut out.
Wow, can you imagine me stuck looking at these two frozen faces?
That's why I closed the window quick.
Right. So apparently, 9 minutes into the podcast, we've already pissed one fan off tonight. We got our first mad face, which thank you for that, because if it's one thing I love doing is pissing off an audience.
What did I miss while I was gone?
Cass dancing and singing about aliens.
Yeah, that would piss me off too. And I'm the one doing it.
Erica says, Rohau. Nicole Ghosting, what's up, everyone? Erica says, top dance Cass. Melissa Ewing says, happy Friday, everybody. Nicole Ghosting Paranormal's laughing her ass off. Erica wants me to do the belly dance.
If I get a
Maybe when
vote,
I get to Arizona, we'll do the belly dance.
okay,
And Melissa says, "Grab your popcorn."
okay. Let's up the stakes. If you can get to Arizona and I can provide you a Hut Slayer Leia outfit, like the slave outfit, will you do it in the outfit? Ah.
Hey, I got the
Oh,
thighs
you
for
walked in at the
it.
wrong time.
I got the thighs for it. I could pull it off. So, anyways, getting back to our guest here, Cass, instead of talking about me belly dancing in a sexy slave outfit, you dirty pervert.
If the bra fits.
True that. So, Heather, I noticed you have PhD on with your name.
Yep.
Can you tell our audience that is rapidly declining what exactly you do in the paranormal field?
Well, basically, I received my PhD from the Institute of Metaphysical and Humanistic Studies from here in Clearwater, Florida. And I actually specialize in paranormal science. So my ultimate goal is to create a scientific method for the paranormal field, because we can't use traditional scientific method because ghosts don't act on command. But we can develop one that's just for our field. And I want to create a universal method of collecting evidence, researching, experiment data searching, as well as documenting and sharing the evidence with others, which is one important thing that we do at the Warren Legacy Foundation. Is we are focused on educating and helping get the answers for paranormal activity through structured research and experiments.
Told y'all she was smart.
Very nice. I mean, that is a hell of a repertoire and a mouthful to say at the same time.
And
Now,
a dangerous path.
Now, when you say science, you're not talking about, dissecting a frog science, right?
No, we don't dissect ghosts yet. But
yeah.
Hey, you can always do it with something you can't see.
Right. They'll never know what I'm doing, even if I am. Or am I?
Exactly. You see, it's like the mimes, I'm dissecting a ghost here. I'm dissecting a ghost. This is the rib cage. This is the lower anatomy.
But it's even though I would love to say, I'd love to dissect an alien, to be honest. But
Gas, you better run, brother.
whole reason why I said it. But it's more or less
right, even
dealing with quantum physics and how theories of relativity, how thermodynamics all feed into paranormal activity, as well as the different levels of paranormal activity. And one of my favorite things to research is Heisenberg's principle about how the experiment can change based on the viewer.
That's going to be very, very good.
Indeed. So, how long have you been working with the foundation?
With the Warren Legacy Foundation, about my 1 year anniversary was Halloween. So I've only been with them a year and a couple months. I know, great anniversary date, huh?
Right, that tops my wedding date, actually.
That is my wedding date.
Forget you, Cass. I was aiming for Halloween, but the lady was busy, so I settled for the 28th and a bunch of Halloween decoration.
In retrospect, you did it smartly.
Wouldn't have it any other way. The whole wedding cost me $150, $100 to get married, and $50 at the dollar store for decorations and napkins. It was fantastic. So, working, what is it like working beside Chris McKennell?
It is the next best thing to working with Lorraine Warren herself.
Really?
Is my only way to explain it, because I've always loved Lorraine Warren, admired her,
Absolutely.
cherished the work that they did. Don't really want to say that they were the reason why I got into the paranormal field, because I was in the paranormal field long before I ever even knew who they were, even though they had been in it forever. But it was one of those things where working with him, I get insight into how she really thought, because she shared a lot of her wisdom with him. And he also worked on a lot of cases with his grandparents. And that is just, to me, it's a wealth of knowledge, and it's such an honor that he would even invite me in the foundation and to work side by side with me.
With your background there, Madame, he would have been a fool not to hire you to the foundation.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I don't want to say that I quickly rose through the ranks, but I did. And it's I'm actually in charge of all of his admin work, and I help him. He says I work more than he does, but it is what it is. I do what I love. So
my question to you is you have this phenomenal background, but I want to dig just a little bit deeper and go back to when you were young. What was your first boyfriend's name in high school?
High school. I don't remember that one. No. He might be watching.
Maybe Mikey. I don't know. What was your first paranormal experience with the paranormal world?
I was 16 or 17. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I started having visions of my grandfather. It started coming to me in a dream, and then I'd wake up and he'd be sitting in the chair next to my bed. I'd see him walking down our hallway. He would be in the mirror while I was brushing my teeth or brushing my hair in the bathroom. And that's kind of what sparked my interest in the field, because I couldn't figure out why he was in the house. Because, back in the late 80s, early 90s, the belief was in order for a home to be haunted, someone had to die there. And right. He had never lived in this house, had never been to the house, because we bought it after he had passed. So I couldn't figure out why he was there. And that's what started my research.
Correct me if I'm wrong, too, but the 80s and early 90s, the paranormal was still kind of in the outskirts of the taboo.
Right. Very. Yeah. And in the dark ages.
Heaven forbid you said it. You said a chew at the Salem witch trials, man. You were getting hung.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, your first experiences at 16 or 17. Where did you go from there with the paranormal field?
It was mostly more reading as many books as I could find, because back then we didn't have the TV shows, which I don't base my research off of those anyway. But we didn't have anything to base our experiences on or base our beliefs on. So it was a lot of research. And then when we started taking vacations, I sought out every possible paranormal aspect of the vacation I could. Like, we would go to Gettysburg almost every year, and I would take the ghost tours. I met Mark Nesbitt and would talked his ear off one summer, just asking 101 questions about because he wrote the books Ghost of Gettysburg. And and he runs the tours out there. So I talked with him a lot. We'd go to Savannah or to Williamstown, and I would do the ghost tours there as well. And I just kind of wanted to learn more about how the history of a location actually fueled paranormal activity, which led me to have one of my most memorable experiences I ever had in Gettysburg.
Nice. So you were already putting science behind all this before you even got into the scientific era of this. Mikey, get your butt out of my screen, dude. He's getting severely PO'd. His tablet's dead and he wants my phone. So we have David Demen. Good evening, my people. Forget you, David. Wow, girly. All right, that's a better comment, David. Wow, she's on our team, right, brother? I wish. Paranormal Brew says, hello. Hello, Taryn. So, have you ever been a part of a physical team in the paranormal world?
I have. I was part of a group in Vegas when we lived in Vegas, because we just moved back to Florida a couple months ago. And that is where I got a lot of formal experience in the paranormal field when it came to helping clients and investigating. Because other than that, I was more solo did a lot of research on my own, and actually wrote several books that I'm in the process of getting publishers for. One is getting published this summer. So
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. You know, I was actually in the process of writing a book myself back in about 2017. And that was before I knew, hey, dum-dum, back your shit up on the computer. And I'm on my last chapter, and all of a sudden my screen glitches out, and my computer fries.
I think every writer has experienced that at one point in their career.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I went through over 120 hours worth of footage and evidence and lost about 245 pages. And that computer was never the same again after I continuously smashed it with a hammer for 15 minutes while crying.
I back my work up on 2 different thumb drives as well as the cloud, because I've lost thumb drives with books on it.
That's why so many writers are Christian. Jesus saves.
Oh, Cass, that was great, brother. That was great. You know, actually, on his show, he runs the Photobomb here. He runs the
Hey there, buddy.
Coffee Time with the Lion's Pride. I can't believe I'm gonna say this on the podcast, but I asked him. I said, "Do you know how to get rid of the Christian or whatever religion that knock on your door at early in the morning and constantly bug you?" And here's how you do it. You open the door and they say, "Do you believe in the word of the Lord?" "Well, yes, I do, but I have a few questions." "Okay, well, go ahead and ask." "Well, Jesus died for our sins, right?" "Amen, amen." All right. So Jesus got put in a tomb where he died in 3 days and then resurrected, correct? "Oh, praise God, praise the Lord." And that's when you get them. There's the hook, line, and sinker. You cock your head to the side and go, "Well, wouldn't that make Jesus the first frickin' zombie?" And they start stuttering and stuttering and stuttering. Yeah, that's what I thought. Slam.
Yeah.
And they never show back up to your house again.
Yeah, he thought he was going to offend my audience with that, and I'm like, nah. My audience consists primarily of people that I've helped. Like they're done with all the deception and the thing. Like they don't even trust me. That's how free thinkers they are, and that's how I like it. You know. So yeah, dude, bro, you didn't offend anybody. You fit right in with my crowd.
Damn it! I'm gonna offend an audience one of these days, man. I even told a horrible joke about Betty White and Paul Walker, which I will not say on this podcast.
Oh, but you'll do it on mine, bastard.
All right, fair enough. I said, what was the difference between Betty White and Paul Walker? And Cass looks at me and says, I don't know. Paul Walker hit 100.
Now, my co-host is a big Paul Walker fan, so her reaction was the one I was like, huh? She was like, oh, that's bad. Like, she's a very prim and polite person, Lady Katie. So, yeah, she was like, oh, my. She was very adorable.
But anyway, getting back on subject here.
Actually,
I told you we're gonna hop off subject at least 3 times.
It happens all the time.
Well, that's the fun part. See, the idea is you do fun subjects and then you squeak a little bit of next level stuff in between so the censors don't catch it.
Exactly.
It's called the knowledge sandwich.
What else do you do besides the Warren Foundation?
Oh, geez. What don't I do? Everybody always picks on me about that, because I wonder how I
There's
get
a lot
sleep
of
at
work to be
night.
done.
But I actually do sleep very well at night, believe it or not. The current thing that I'm working on is I'm up against a huge deadline. Monday, my book is due. And it's funny, I've written all these other books on how to protect yourself from the paranormal, Paranormal 101. I've written fiction books left and right about vampires and werewolves, which, like I said, that's why when we were talking earlier, you and I need to talk.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Really?
the one that gets a publisher backing behind it is the one that I did for fun in relation to a documentary I was in last year, The Ghost of Southern Nevada Ghost Towns. So it's like my fun project gets picked up by a publisher. So, and that one
I'm sorry, but I would have backed up the werewolf and the vampire book.
I do historical fiction. So I take historical events and I twist it with vampires and werewolves.
See, there you go. That's exactly the same concept, but yeah, you.
And then outside of that, I do, well, like I had mentioned, we recently did a documentary that came out. Real Haunts Ghost Towns came out last year. And then Real Haunts 3 is coming out later this year. And I guess I could start at the top of my list. I work with a friend of mine back in Las Vegas. She runs Touch of Magic. It's an online forum on Facebook for magical assistance for new witches, old witches, anybody needing paranormal assistance. We run Witches Paranormal Society as well. We teach classes through YouTube videos, and then we also have classes at iMystic University. Excuse me, I'm choking here on my own. Then I've been the co-host of Ghost Education 101. We provide online education through guest speakers with paranormal slide presentations, basically slideshows and training things that we do. We do that every other week. I'm also the host of my own podcast, Exploring the Paranormal, which just aired. And I basically, for that one, I created an open forum where I interview anybody who's interested. Like I had Brandon Alvis on a couple weeks ago. Last week, I'll definitely get in touch with you. Last week, I did and you too, a presentation on non-tech tools in the paranormal field. And then next week, I have David Oman coming on the show to talk about his experiences with Shannon Tate.
What's a non-textual?
Non-tech tools. Basically anything that doesn't require technology to operate. I use dowsing rods, pendulums. I use fidget spinners on my investigations.
Really?
So basically how to conduct a paranormal investigation with no technology outside of a digital voice recorder and a video camera to document your evidence.
I like it.
That's it. $50,000 every 6 months to come work for Global. Not good enough. Okay, 70,000. That's my final offer.
I'm not moving back to the West Coast. I'm happy here.
Oh man, you seem to dabble in a little bit of everything.
I do. Yep.
So now comes the big question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on the ETs and the UFOs of the world?
I'm a firm believer. I want to do more research into that. Living 2 hours outside of Area 51, there was definitely a lot of strange stories coming out of the area. During our documentary research, I brought the film crew into a museum that I used to volunteer at and help. We actually ran several paranormal events as a fundraiser for the museum. And they had a train car from Area 51. And we actually had, I saw visions of a little boy around this train car. Every time I went there, I would see this little boy. And then if we took our EMF detector to that train car, it would be like going off the charts. But then if we would step 2 feet behind it to the next train car, dead silent.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was a lot of activity, and it definitely got me more interested in researching more.
And Melissa wants to know, do you know the feather trick?
Depending on how you use it, I use feathers mostly for determining if there's a draft in a location. because if you're using non-tech tools such as styrofoam, ping pong balls, or anything like that, or even wind chimes, you want to make sure there's no draft. So I've done that. And
There's
then
also
I don't know any other method to use it, but I'm sure there's probably research options out there for it.
There's also electromagnetic and non-visible radiation interferences that stuff like that causes.
Yep.
And the CIA is fully aware of it, by the way. I've actually watched them use it to discredit psychics a number of times.
You know, when I thought about the feather trick, my first instinct went to the old prank of the 70s and 80s with the sleeping dad with the shaving cream tickling his nose with a feather and getting your ass whooped if you get caught.
Dude, I went to Hedonism Bot from Futurama. I was like, I know what to do with a feather. Oh,
yeah. I was trying to keep my answer clean just because I wasn't sure if she was.
So I have a couple of questions for you too, and some of them are kind of mean.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not really sure how to go about this. I'm not so good with etiquette.
Oh, wait, my computer froze again. No, I'm just kidding.
So first, I'll start kind of soft. So basically, not kind of soft. You know what I mean. Non-confrontational. Confrontational is the word I'm looking for. Non-confrontational. The question at the end is confrontational, but it's not at you. It's about the situation, but not personal. Okay. You guys like my disclaimers? Anyway, so basically, you're someone who knows for a fact that science and spirit are intertwined. Like in your head, you know the fact. It's just a matter of proving it, right?
Yep.
So what kind of changes do you propose to the scientific method?
More or less, the major changes that I propose is the hardest part with the paranormal field is the redoing the experiment and doing it a second time. So what we need to do is we need to find experiments that we can redo over and over. So like one thing that I always tell people who want to start off learning more about the scientific method in the paranormal field is to get an Eddie Plus and pick either a place on your patio or in your house every day at the same time. Set the device down, have it take measurements for an hour. But then while it's taking the measurements, document full moon, half moon, waning moon, waxing moon, weather conditions, temperature, atmospheric pressure, any geothermic activity, solar flares, and document all that. Then after 30 days, 6 months, a year, you can compare, every day on the full moon, I had a spike of 2 points on the Eddie Plus. Or when the temperature was 72 degrees, I had a spike of 3 points on the meter. So you can, and then that way you can have scientific evidence that kind of correlates with actual EMF activity and all of that. Then from there, we can start translating it into experiments that we can possibly redo and kind of almost predict the kind of activity we might get because of the atmospheric pressure or full moon or anything like that.
Right. Now, I'm not. Don't take this as bragging or one-upping, because obviously you guys have succeeded where I failed. But basically, that sounds exactly like the kind of things I was doing in the '90s with regards to how to translate my people's technology to human understanding. Like
Heather Landon.
I can see where like I would have liked to go back and try a couple of things that you mentioned, but you got it right. I would also say, would you agree that putting aside one's personal feelings and beliefs is also a vital step in all this? You have to be willing to be wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. What we call it is leave your ego at the door. And it's one of those things where it's like, I even run into people, or even people will ask me to be on their show, and they're like, "Oh, you're so sweet. We wouldn't expect this of you." And it's like, why? I check my ego at the door. It doesn't come into the field with me at all. I'm here for research, helping the clients, and getting answers. And even if I can't get the answers, I want to lay the foundation for future generations to get the answers.
I like that. Plant the tree under which you know you will not rest.
Yep.
You see, you never came off to me as an egotistical person. Granted, I was a bit intimidated at the beginning of this podcast, because of your extensive background. But like me, you're just a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, I'm no different than the next person, and it's just weird. It's like I had a friend who messaged me saying, "Hey, would you be on my show?" And I'm like, "Sure." I know when. And she was completely shocked. She was expecting a no. But I know how she felt because I felt the same way when I asked Brandon Alex to be on my show.
I'll have my people call your people.
Right.
Okay, so that brings me to the next question, and I know we were all joking and all, but in all seriousness, what would you do to actually dissect an alien?
What would I
Like,
do?
say an alien popped up and said, "Go ahead, break my bones and record it. I'll heal."
Oh, if he was still living, I wouldn't. I'd want to pick his brain and get information from him. You know, would be my first thing. But it was Area 51 style.
Yeah, I can't talk about Area 51. I have NDAs. No, I'm not joking. I have NDAs.
No, I know, but it's one of those where I guess if it came down to actually investigating dissecting one that was deceased, because I would never, like I had said, do anything to something that was living like that. That's just not my nature. So I would definitely want to get the psychological aspects of that alien. But if it was deceased, I would just want to see what was inside and see if it's the same as we are.
I get that. So, all right. That's very good to know. Would it surprise you that there is a great deal of people, a great many rather, people who would have something to offer for literal biological and scientific study, but quite frankly, they're terrified.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Thank you. You guys heard it there. It is time to come out, but it's completely understandable if you want to stay in for a little while longer.
Right.
Let us go first.
Yeah. And I can completely relate to that because we were actually just talking about this earlier today. I kept my spiritual views to myself. I'm real big into now I'm completely, I guess you could say, out with it all, but I'm into paganism, witchcraft, definitely kitchen witch, crystal witch. But I always kept it to myself up until probably about 5 years ago, outside of those who were really close to me, just because, Southern Florida, there's a Catholic church on every corner. We moved to Vegas and it was more open and I felt more confident talking to people about it. And so I can kind of relate wanting to keep the true self inside because you're afraid of how other people will react.
Try going to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
That's more
bad.
Yep.
So, if somebody were to tell you that they are an EBE tuning into this multiverse via genetic information, you'd know what that means.
Yes.
You know about EBE1?
No. It sounds familiar, but not.
All right. So, would you like, for both my benefit and for the audience, could you explain what an extra biological entity is classified? I believe they're also calling them crap. Linda Moulton Howe just used the word last week, and I can't remember what word. Emerthers. Emerthers.
It's basically, I just, like I said, I just started the research on it, so I'm still new to it and a baby researcher in that aspect for those fields. But it's basically anything that's not known or not really not known, but not popular in science, in earthly science is, kind of how it goes. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just doesn't mean that it's commonly researched or commonly taught publicly, if that makes sense. He's on mute.
Oh. Nope, I had the mute button backwards again. I was apologizing for Clover. She's trying to have her babies behind the screen, and I can't let her do that. Okay, so thank you for explaining that, because I was getting a little bit confused too. Mm-hmm. All these the different terminologies. It can all get a little daunting.
Yeah.
This is absolutely phenomenal because you guys lost me about 20 miles that way.
Sorry.
Took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Oh, hey, I forgot you were here. No, just kidding.
That's it. I'm gone. Later, guys.
So,
You know,
final question, the one that's going to sound confrontational. Why are people in your field rejecting? Um, why are you guys rejecting contact?
Closed-minded is number one. Bringing back in ego. Ego is definitely number one, because a lot of people are also afraid. But depending on who you talk to in this field, I know there's several in the Warren Legacy Foundation who want to get the answers. We want to, we actually have a client in the past that we've tried to help. And there was evidence that she was abducted by aliens. And we kind of want to get that evidence to help get the answers. And I just don't understand why. Same thing goes with just regular paranormal investigations. Why are these teams or individuals so close-minded about either other religions, other experiences? Also close-minded in the aspect of they don't want to share their locations or their evidence. I mean, I've seen so many people post over, I get saying undisclosed location because they don't want, the location doesn't want to be known. But I've seen so many people saying, we're the one and only team to investigate this location. Well, how's that helping research the field? Open it, share it with others, compare data.
Right.
And it's a lot of the closed-minded and ego that gets in the way of accepting other things.
Right. Amen, sister.
See, I got a story for you, and hopefully maybe you can give me some answers. I got in contact with a lot of the ufology superstars, and the ones that looked into me, would contact me back and say, "Yeah, we know, we agree, you are who you are, but talking to you is dangerous to us." More in particular, Dr. Greer, because Dr. Greer in the field probably has the best chance of helping my people, reach you guys. We have physical, biological differences, like literal under the skin. It's not human, And he acknowledged this, but then moved. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't. It's too dangerous." What the hell is that all about?
I really do relate that to going back to the 60s with the Men in Black type of thing, where they wanted to keep everything quiet. And for some, I don't know. Next thing, if someone knocks at my door after this call, I'm going to...
Don't worry about it. Okay. If the Men in Black knock on your door on my behalf, don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
I'm definitely pointing them in your direction. No.
I think she's worried about a couple of... I think she's worried about a couple of reptilians or big gray, big-eyed aliens.
I'm not worried about that at all. I can stand my own ground. But I truly do believe that, this is just my feeling on, and I hate to say this, but I truly do believe that the human race isn't ready for it.
Irrelevant. It's coming.
Whether it's coming or not, I don't think they're ready for it. And I think any type of, which is why, people want to keep it quiet, because it could cause mass panic.
Fair enough.
All right, Heather, I have a scenario for you. Mm-hmm. You're walking in a town. You go down a dark alley. You see a figure that's just staring a hole right through you. He's about 4'5", has a bigger head than me and Cass put together. And the closer you get, the more alien-like it looks. Mm-hmm. Are you going to make contact with this thing, or are you going to hightail it the hell out of there?
Nope. The only thing that brings more fear into this world is showing fear. So if you're going to do anything, you got to stand your ground. And we're never going to learn. It goes with the human race. We're never going to learn about other creatures, other races, or anything like that if we hightail it out of there. We need to, unless they show me a reason to be afraid, I really don't see any I always tell people that I don't fear the dead. I fear the living more.
Yeah, there you go. Although I got some stories that might change your mind, but those are anecdotal, not general.
I've been attacked by spirits before, like physically attacked and harmed, and I still fear the living more than I do the dead.
I believe you. And would you like to talk about that for a second?
I can if you want me to.
Because I think
Right,
just
right.
because I think that's pretty on theme. Because
Mhm.
a lot of the like hobby investigators need to know this shit is dangerous.
It is. It is very dangerous. I've had two very memorable experiences. One was a psychological attack, and then another one was a actual physical attack. And the first one was we were investigating a we were the first team to ever investigate the Florence mine up in Goldfield, and we were filming actually for a TV pilot, and this was just before COVID hit, so everything got shelved because of COVID. But we were down in a mine where it was collapsed, and from what I gather from the current mine owner is that they weren't able to retrieve all the bodies from this collapsed area, so there's still remnants of these men down there from the 20s. And when me being the brave one that I am, I decided I'm going to go, and it's like probably 2 or 3 feet tall. So I had to crawl back on my hands and knees to this collapsed area. And I went all the way back there, and I'm like, I'm going to conduct an EVP session. I couldn't even get the first question out before I couldn't breathe. I felt like the walls were closing in on me. I felt like I was suffocating. I started crying. I started hearing screams of men so I was actually experiencing what they had experienced in the last moments of their life. And it was the scariest thing I had ever experienced up to that point.
Wow.
And the rest of the team in the film, because one of the film crew went back there with me, and he's like, get out of here. He's like, we need to get out of here. And once they got me out of there, I was perfectly fine. It was like nothing had happened.
Okay, I have a question that's going to sound oddly self-serving here, but if you had an organization that you could just call and say, "Hey, I need a level 3 psychic over here right now," like say Paranormal United, or
Right.
just say us, would you use it out in the field?
Oh yeah, I've worked with several psychics. I mean, I don't really. I'm very empathic. I know that, but I don't have the ability to actually communicate with spirits in that aspect. I can see and I can hear them, but I don't have those psychic abilities that most have. But yeah, during that investigation, having an actual psychic on hand would have been very nice.
Now, I think Eric says it best when they say those who don't share info, findings, or locations outside of client privacy requests are not paranormal investigators. They are ghost hunters or YouTubers.
Exactly.
Or my favorite thing is I hope they're not watching, but they probably are. I know several people who go on investigations, and they bring their video cameras and their digital voice recorders and all this other data collecting. But when they get home, they never go back and look at it.
Then why?
Like, why bring just go to the location? Why bring all this stuff with you?
That's asinine.
Right.
Why?
Why carry that stuff if you don't have
Why
to?
record if you're not going to go over the footage?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Matt Barron says, "What's up, everyone? What's up, Baronator?"
That's why on the Lion's Pride, everything we have is open. You know, that's those who join. Who we have several. Yeah, basically, it's all open. It's for everyone. You know, this has to benefit every mitochondrial cell on the planet equally, or it's all screwed, or it's all going to explode. And that's why the government doesn't interfere with me. Don't laugh. They're literally taking care of my daughter right now because of this. And
see,
again,
see, that's my only fear. It's not the aliens. It's them coming knocking on my door and my disappearing because I know too much.
Yeah, shut up, Cass, with your level 5 clearance bullshit.
I don't have clearance anything.
We're putting our lives in danger over here.
Honestly, in my personal experience, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I've been called a shill for this. In my personal experience, a lot of the disappearing people in the night doesn't happen here in America. Now, we've interviewed people who have been victims of MK Ultra and such, but in my that's never happened to us. You know, as soon as they did the genetic test on my daughter and found out that she had the DNA, it's been easy street. You know, her transplants paid for and everything. They've treated us like guests. So I've never experienced any of this. I do understand it's there, but please understand, folks, I've never experienced it. You know?
You know, there's only 2 things that I fear in this realm, as you would say. And that I don't care what people say, in the Antarctica, there are gosh damn ice giants. Them
That's way
things
more true than you want to
25
believe,
feet
bro.
tall. And I'm telling you what, if I have to stand next to something that I'm as tall as a freaking kneecap, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge.
There are giants in the sky.
Giants are just teddy bears. They're more teddy bears than we are.
Oh, yeah, you say that now.
It's the little gnomes you got to worry about. They're vicious.
Right? Little ankle biters.
Exactly.
See, right there, that's right there is why we need to get some kind of taxonomy going, because various things that humans would classify as giants, they're different people entirely. Like you have the wild redheads from the freaking Arabic Peninsula. They are a radically different thing than, say, for example, Sasquatch. But you classify them both as giants. And then you got the Fomora from Ireland, and that's a whole nother tribe. Then you got the Nephilim. So it's like we have a lot of catching up to do on this world, folks. Yeah. We don't have time for tribalism anymore.
And the second thing I fear most of all is the Anunnaki. That is just a scary ass race right there. And Matt Barron fears the drunken tickler. You wait till Pennsylvania, buddy. Tickle, tickle. Oh, Lord, I love this podcast. One of these days, I'm just going to get shut down for some of the shit that comes out of this podcast.
We'll see.
No.
Hey, they're the ones that arranged the pyramid of special privileges. Use it if you got it.
Now, Heather, what's your take on Stonehenge and how the pyramids were built, and just all the anomalies around the world, including the cave paintings from the ancient tribes of gigantic beings and lights in the sky? What's your take on that?
Well, when it comes to Stonehenge, I've always viewed that as a very spiritual place. And I do believe that it was some sort of ritual ground back in the day that was almost a place for us to welcome otherworldly creatures. And I'm a true believer in ancient astronaut theory. So when it comes to the inscriptions in cave walls, you do have, were they gods? Were they aliens? Where's the fine line in trying to determine between what they were, because we weren't there. And I used to always believe that the pyramids, we needed some type of help on some of the stuff that we're finding in, like, back in the Egyptians and other early races. However, I have seen documentaries to disprove that aliens helped build the pyramids, but still in that disapproval of how the aliens built, or how we could have built the pyramids back then, it's still, where would they have gotten that idea back then? Someone had to show them, you can put these two items together and it'll help you roll these huge bricks further and faster.
Oh, and here's my thought about it too. I mean, you're not going to get a huge brick 14, 15 stairs almost vertically up by 1,000 Egyptians that worked out all their lives and can bench press 500 pounds. I'm sorry, it's just not possible.
Right. And it's like here in Florida, there's a place called Coral Castle. And it's theorized that he had alien help building it, because the corals, no, I don't know the true story. I've never been there. I just hear rumors.
Sorry. I'm getting all animated.
But he had help in it because the coral pieces were just far too big. But it would be interesting. I want to get there and learn exactly how he may have done it. And some people had even said that lived nearby could see these pieces of coral just floating.
Yeah, see, what he figured out is the medium.
Mhm.
What one of the reasons that people are having such a hard time in the last, say, 500 years figuring out why the old stories of how the pyramids actually got moved, why they are such that they are, and why that technique is mimicked all around the world.
Mhm.
The what they were missing is the medium. The guy in
Yep.
Florida, I can't remember his name, he figured out what the medium. That's a paste you put on the sandstone, and then
Yep.
that's forms. And I don't know what that is yet. It's part of the whole thing. We all got to figure it out together. You
Right.
know.
Yep. Yeah, because there's even photos of him using a crane, but they said that even the structure of the crane would not have supported those huge coral pieces.
Nope, it would have snapped right in the middle.
Yep. And that's more or less his cover up to how he did it.
So
Now,
with Stonehenge, oh, go ahead, Cass. Sorry.
Now, there's something that he had mentioned in his own methodologies that gives us a hint, and I believe this is where we're going to get it. The Socrates actually developed a method for contacting hyperdimensional entities and actually learning things from them. By utilizing the Socratic method, you can do this at home. All right, Einstein used it, Tesla used it.
Yep.
Many people have used this method, and there's some hints. And again, I can't remember his name. In his own writing, there's some hints that he used the Socratic method to find it out, to figure it out, and that he was taught by something out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm getting all like.
So, do you believe, guys, in your own opinions, that if Stonehenge at one time was complete, that people would go in there and use it as some sort of portal to another world to summon different different characters, if you will, such as, dragons or giants or something other dimensional to do their bidding?
Mm-hmm. I think the design of Stonehenge is prime for that to be a possibility. And as a writer, I've always theorized and told people that as humans, we have great imaginations. I get that. But some of the things that you see in books, such as dragons and, stuff like that, they had to have come from some inspiration. I mean, you look at Dracula, was inspired by Vlad the Impaler. Frankenstein was actually inspired from an actual doctor. And I mean, even Mary Shelley, she had her husband's heart wrapped in a poem he wrote that they discovered in her desk after she died.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
As a gothic punk writer, I am ashamed of myself.
So something had to inspire these thought patterns to get for the first person to actually write about a dragon. They had to have seen something that made them name it a dragon, draw it the way they drew it, and then the thought took off. So there's always got to be something out there that has inspired something in fiction that makes it not so fiction.
Exactly. I believe at one point in time, maybe even during or before the dinosaur age, that there were indeed dragons,
Mm-hmm.
and that there were indeed wizards and, everything that D&D basically is wrapped around. I think there's some truth behind it.
As a D&D player, for everyone's, safety on my mental health, I disagree.
I said most of it.
There's lots of problems, like with the role-playing community, especially like when Vampire the Masquerade came out. Basically, the more real a role-playing game system gets, or music system, any kind of medium, if now that I think about it, the more likelihood it is that some damaged people are going to latch on to it and use it as a vehicle for destruction.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we've talked about UFOs, we've talked about spiritual. Let's talk about folklore. Heather, in your mind, what is the most believable folklore that's out there and why?
For me, I don't really know if it's considered folklore or just an urban, well, not really an urban legend either, but it's the Tommy knockers.
We were just talking about them.
What amazes me about them is every culture has a different version of a Tommyknocker. Like Nevada mines, they have it's a full person. Looks like a miner that's in the mines. Germany, it looks like a little mischief elf. Ireland, it's a little leprechaun-looking creature. So why is it that the Tommyknocker serves the same purpose, but looks so different from culture to culture?
Would that
I
be the
have
same
the answer for that. And it's because they're always after me Lucky Charms.
Oh, Figura.
All right, go ahead, Cass. Sorry.
No, I was just going to wonder if the Russian kobold fits into that.
I think so. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So a Tommyknocker
kobold
is somebody who lives in a cave or a mine, and if you hear the 3 knocks, that means get your ass out. It's about to collapse, or something bad is going to happen, right?
Yep. And they also play tricks, like they'll steal tools and do things. But then you also have those who try to look for the obvious explanation first, which I always suggest on any paranormal investigation. But in a mine, you know how you have the wood shafts before it collapsed? Could the knocks have been the creaking of those shafts starting to break down?
That's actually a very good point.
So it's one of those,
that's a very valid point.
Yep. So it's one of those, it's a tough call. Is it a Tommyknocker giving you a warning? Is it Tommyknocker causing it? Or is it something natural?
But what if it's a little bit of both? Now, hear me out for a second. What if the Tommyknocker is actually, like, for example, a hyperdimensional consciousness, and however it has to manifest in the 3D world is what it is. If that happens to be through creaking wood, so be it.
Right.
But the spirit has to manifest and start pounding on some rocks, it'll do that too. Right. What do you think?
It's definitely possible. And then another theory, the one thing that I'm trying to research, which is very hard because unless you have access to another dimension, you can't confirm or deny it, is when we interact with ghosts or other beings, is it because we're all on our own wavelengths and we have interaction when those wavelengths cross? So like we cross, and then could the same thing be in the mines? When our wavelengths cross, they're actually miners in another dimension working in the mine.
That is one of the phenomena my people are specifically studying. Is which is it? We don't know everything either. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Right. Yep. And that's one thing I always, like when we see a woman from another dimension that looks different to us, or from another time period, is it just because the other dimension is that far behind? Or is that, is it really someone from the past or someone from the current that just hasn't evolved as much as we have?
Now, why do you think that we can't see ghosts, with how they really look when they manifest? I mean, if a ghost or spirit got his head chopped off, why isn't the sumbitch just not holding his own head, walking down the aisle, just tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la?
Because that would scare us, first of all. But spirits want to communicate with us as much as we want to communicate with them. So they want to come to us in a presence that we accept. So, and then, going back to the aliens that we were talking about earlier, the reason why a lot of aliens look like we do is because they're projecting themselves to us to look like someone that we would be comfortable talking to. Because we wouldn't be comfortable talking to someone with, their head blown off. We wouldn't be comfortable talking to a 15-legged 75, just being on the extreme side, something that looks, like it should belong in the deep ocean.
Be thankful they just look to you like mantises.
Right.
I don't know about that one. If I saw a spirit carrying his head around, before I absolutely crapped my pants, I would have to say, look, the horseless headsman. And then I'd crap my pants and take off running.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'd have to crack a joke about the headless hunt.
And it would be funny because, could you imagine if they all appeared like they did in Beetlejuice?
Oh, good Lord.
It's We couldn't handle that.
A dude with a tiny shrunken head.
Right. You know,
Shake, Sonora, shake your body line.
that's actually one of my favorite movies, but yeah.
Eldon's not with us right now. He is on the other side of the computer doing something else.
Beetlejuice is actually one of my favorites as well, along with Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the Life of Brian and Vampire in Brooklyn and Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if you had to choose, Cass, talk for a minute.
Ha! No. Okay. Well, I can tell you guys that part of the reason why you guys can't see ghosts the way they quote unquote truly appear is that there's a bit of a perception filter going on. In the metaphysical world, we call it the veil. I think you know probably more about that than I do. Basically, what it is humans tend to see the world, tend to see what they expect. So, for example, you might see an alien like coming down the street, but it's just a bag lady looking for crack. You know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to deal with human perception that even my people.
You want to see something like that? You just come up to Spokane, Washington. We got people that are crawling on their hands and legs, doing backward crawls, head spun around, licking the freaking sidewalk, thinking they dropped their meth.
But getting back on that, what people need to do is we need to take off our rose-colored glasses. We need to open up our minds, see the world for what it really is. And because a lot of people are closed-minded, I mean, we can't even get along as the human race. How can we expect to get along with other races? I mean, or other entities?
We have a thought on that, if I may.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right. There's some evidence that your species was genetically messed with about 14K years ago. That's biological. We think, and what we believe is happening is that your species is experiencing an extended form of PTSD. Mm-hmm. Behaviorologists would agree that humans are not behaving in their current in their natural state. Oh. Something has forced us all, not just you, all of us, as Terrans, as one, to act way outside of Gaia's mandate. Mm-hmm. You know. Yep. So, by the way, on that note, I'm not projecting. This is all us. My people's technology is light and consciousness. I was born here in Denver. I'm a Terran through and through.
Here's the way I look at it, man, and that is I'm just a man in a box.
I hate you, Brian.
I do this to him on purpose. I will give him song references, and out of nowhere, he'll start singing it.
Brian,
so, you know, like nothing else matters.
I hate you. He makes Cassidy sing. I really hate you.
Ow! Uncle, don't pull Daddy's beard. No, you're not pushing the button, you little butthole.
It used to be a tagline on the show: bad jokes and worse singing. Then my co-host kind of accidentally taught me how to sing, so I can't say that anymore.
Hey, Cass, go ride the lightning. Hey, nothing else matters, buddy.
I hate you. I hate you.
Just remember, bud, it's the final countdown.
It's the final countdown. Oh, God. All right, back to the PhD. She's smarter. She's too good for this.
Oh, good Lord. All right, I'll quit, Cass. I'll quit. I'm sorry. Now, just don't be a cold-hearted snake.
Oh, you're slowly making me lose my mind. Cold-hearted Brian, yeah. Stop it.
Quit triggering him.
Sorry. Back to you, Heather. What other folklore do you enjoy to read about or think is true?
Definitely do believe in the fairies, especially elementals. Nice cattail there.
I think I'm going to have to clean up kittens later.
And then one that I truly want to believe in, and not in the aspect of like the new vampire show that's on History Channel or Discovery Plus. Not in that aspect, but I truly would like to believe that vampires and werewolves are real.
Oh,
I would like that
to
too.
that statement, correct me if I'm wrong, between the 17 and early 1900s in Europe, it got to the point to where there were so many sightings of vampires by well distinguished and respected gentlemen that they started putting iron like bedding pretty much around the coffin. So if the vampire was to try to rise, it wouldn't be able to because of the barrier.
Right.
And actually, Cash, I think you have a very interesting story that Heather would be very interested in hearing.
Which one?
Let's talk about Mr. Bone Jangles.
Mr. Bonejangles. You're talking about the manifestations of skeletons, right?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to hear you sing them.
You bastard. Okay, so something I stumbled upon the other day when I was, just looking around doing my thing, is that the sightings of disembodied skeletons is on the rise. And now, if this was coming from people like drunk people or people screwing around, that would be one thing. But these are reports that are coming from like men of honor, like doctors, things like that, to the point where one of the sightings was from a doctor that was specifically able to describe how the bones would float independently of each other as if there were still connective tissue. And he was basically surprised that it didn't look like a cartoon or a movie. Like it shocked him, And there are a number of metaphysical theories as to why that could possibly be. But just off the top of your head, or if you've heard of this, what would you have to say about this?
That's the first I've heard of it, but it is possible in the aspect of I don't really want to say residual energy, but even our bones are surrounded by energy. So when all the tissue around it is gone, it doesn't mean that that energy is still not there.
Right. What I'm wondering is if this isn't some sort of a manifestation issue, not really an undead, so much as okay, like it's not terribly uncommon for people to be able to see someone astral projecting through like the eye points or something like that, right? So, given the way the various forms of radiation are saturating the planet right now, I'm wondering if maybe like the bones of people projecting is starting to become like carry a charge or something. Does that make any sense, or am I just?
Yeah, it's definitely something to look into, and it's odd all the different things that are starting to come out. And I think that's becoming because more people are being open-minded and not blocking it off. And getting back to the drunk people, I actually find they have more credibility because they're not closed off to the world.
Fair enough. But in terms of like gathering
evidence,
evidence, credential. What is the word I'm looking for? Believability.
Right.
That whole area.
Good night.
I mean, you could say the same thing that I'm not reliable because I'm drinking too much Monster coffee. Not a paid advertisement. Give us a call. But
they'll kill your kidneys.
Yeah, right. It's a good thing I heal. But yeah, no. But
maybe that's why my kidney disease healed itself. I don't know. I was stage 5 in kidney failure, and then it turned around.
Well, it could be. That if I may, part of the Great Awakening is people coming to understanding through some method, be it scientific or spiritual, that you personally, you at home, yes, you at home, you are in control of your own DNA. So you can literally adjust it as you need to. All you need to do is know how. So like if you needed to heal and like you understood and made the decision on the higher level, like on the Yoda level, do or do not level, then it's entirely possible. You literally healed yourself.
I think that might have been part of it because my grandfather had come to me. I was 5 or 6 months into the disease and still having my pity party. But my biopsy came back that nothing was wrong with my kidneys. They were completely healthy. But my blood work showed I was stage 5. And my grandfather came to me and said, "It's not your time, honey. continue living life. And I immediately turned around, got more positive, realized my life wasn't over yet. And slowly my numbers started improving.
And Heather said no.
Yeah, exactly.
You said 9.
Grandpa said so.
Yeah, Grandpa said no, so it's not my time yet, guys. Grandpa said no.
You're stuck with me for many more years.
Now, speaking like scientifically, do you think that your grandpa, like I'm not talking spiritually. I'm assuming, we're always assuming, that, on your side here. But speaking scientifically, do you think it was possible that your grandfather was a manifestation of your own, like seeing it get better, or do you think he actually came to you as a scientist?
It could have been one combination of both, or one or the other, because the one thing that we're doing a lot of study and research in the foundation is self-manifestation. Like, are these paranormal activities that a lot of our clients have is usually self-manifestation. It's because they want to see their dead relative, because they're afraid of what Zach Bagans showed them on TV. It's because they're, they want to see and want to believe so badly, they're manifesting it themselves.
Holy crap. I had to yell for my wife, and I thought you said something completely different. My jaw about hit the floor. Did you really just say that on the podcast?
Whatever it is, no.
And then you said manifestation. And I said, oh, okay. Not the word I heard.
Do you think I want to kill my career now when it's about to take off again?
Yeah. Clean the crap out of your ears.
Well, I can't hear you talking in my deaf ear.
I've encountered what you're talking about in my exorcism work, and it's one of the hardest things to say to people. Is like, look, you're doing this to yourself. Calm down.
Yep. And that all goes with the psychokinesis and poltergeist activity.
I've never witnessed psychokinesis. Have you?
No. Nope. No.
Now,
the only thing is looking back is when I was a teenager. Again, back in the 80s, we didn't know much about it, but all of a sudden in the middle of the night, our car horn would go off. And it was a brand new 1988 Beretta GT. We took it into the Chevy dealership over and over and over to get looked at. Nothing wrong with the car. And my dad would go out, open the car door, and before he could even hit the horn or do anything to it, it would stop the minute the car door opened. And we're almost wondering if it might have been my doing poltergeist activity, because it would happen, trying to remember back. Did it happen when I was angry, when I was upset? And it was just always weird. In the middle of the night, car horn would go off and whatever was happening in the house stopped. And we, it was like whatever was happening stopped. So if we were arguing or I was upset, that ceased to exist because of the car horn.
See, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you, but I didn't want to seem confrontational. Is have you considered the No, I'm serious. Have you considered the possibility that you are projecting an awakening of your own?
Yep. And that's very possible. And that's something that I would like to learn more about and determine if, because I do see my grandfather when I'm stressed and sad.
Just clear. I'm not talking about psychologically projecting like, oh, you're imagining. I'm talking.
No. I know what you mean.
So my question is say you guys come across somebody that hasn't seen their loved one in 15 years, forgot what they looked like, forgot what they sounded like, forgot what they smelled like. Is there an actual way to bring that said person to them?
Yes.
Yeah. Meditation, thinking about it. I mean, even just thinking about someone or thinking that you're missing them, they know and they'll make their appearance.
I've tried. It doesn't work.
Because you don't believe 100%.
Yeah, there's way I'll work with you later. One of my primary clients are grieving mothers, and again, for those of you who are wondering, I never charge a damn thing. That's not what we do. I'm a shaman. They'd revoke my shaman card, But yeah, the thing is speaking in pure physics. Every time you meet someone, the stronger impression they have on you, the more the neurons under your heart record their presence. Okay, and they do not forget. Ever. What the trick is getting your heart to remember that person. If you can get in touch with that vibe, you can literally speak to them. You know,
So
so
is it that I'm not meditating hard enough?
no, in fact, you might be meditating too hard.
Full kinds of meditation, or
I believe the word, and Heather, please back me up. I believe the word is focused in attention,
Yes.
and yeah, so you might be meditating too hard.
Yep. And you need to make sure that whatever you're trying to do, you wholeheartedly believe in the process, because you can meditate all you want, but if you don't believe meditation works, it's not going to work.
oh, honey, I'm Wiccan. I meditate. I astroplane. I turn into 3 different spiritual animals in a matter of 10 minutes. I cast spells on people. Good ones. I don't do it for the bad.
For those at home, for the skeptics, there's a phrase that a lot of flim flam people will try to use, and that is, "You have to believe it to see it."
You do. No,
Well, in a way, yes, but
you're just teasing.
no, right. I'm with you there. But there's something you guys can do as skeptics, and basically take a I can't remember the exact name of it. It's a Archimedean leap of faith. And what that is you basically set aside a moment and say, okay, for just now, I'm going to believe. I don't have to believe forever. And that comes from the idea that you can accept and hear an idea and process and think on that idea without accepting it as true. Okay, like every time I watch a Star Wars movie. So, utilizing the same thing, you can take that leap of faith for yourself just long enough to see that this works. The rest will speak for itself.
Yep.
But you got to believe in you, not somebody charging you $39.95.
Damn it! I knew Psychic Susie was wrong. Which reminds me, how they used to have the psychics on TV with the big crowds. I figured out how that was done, by the way. That is done by numerous microphones with an audience waiting, the psychic, quote unquote, in the back, listening to different audiences, writing things down, and then going out and spouting what he spouts. Everybody goes into ooh and ah. He gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people get left with what? Just telling their story to some random stranger.
Broken hope.
And a fake and phony just played you like a fiddle.
And could you imagine how much easier it is nowadays with social media, especially when you go to those events and they're like, share on social media that you're here. And then they find out who's there and they have all your information right at their fingertips.
Exactly.
And now you know why so many people hate Cassidy. Private message, for public message rather. If you're out there flim-flamming people, it's your ass. We're coming. We will disprove you.
With a 3-headed unicorn.
Damn, Skippy! But that's why I emphasize to people, like, look, if you're not psychic, don't claim to be. Don't try to, like, oh, well, I'm really smart and I can read people, so I can make myself look psychic. Yeah, my dad tried that. It does not work out.
No.
I am not psychic, and I'm proud to be not psychic, although it would help. The thing is, as a not psychic, I don't know. I'm starting to take it personal when people like Miss Cleo. I'm starting to take that shit personally because it's starting to break my hope in people.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Or what kills me is when people will charge to cleanse your home, because how can you prove you got rid of this paranormal activity?
Right.
I mean, that's one major reason, is how can you prove the activity's gone? And we're in this field to help. I tell people there are so many other ways to make money in this field. You can make money teaching classes, giving lectures, hosting fundraising events for historical sites, writing books. There's so many other ways that you can survive. What?
Can we discuss this later, like in private?
Oh, of course.
Thank you. In all seriousness, no jokes. No jokes.
No, I'm serious. I have several things I want to talk to you about, because you talked about being a shaman, and I just finished my shamanic life coaching.
Nice.
Oh boy. And Cass and Heather become best friends. leaving the third wheel, the host, out in the dirt.
And you're the one who
bro,
introduced
bro,
us.
you
That'll
bring the
teach you.
thunder. Yeah, you bring the thunder. You know.
I'm just joshing you.
Well, I'm jealous of Josh. Bring him over.
Hey, I might. He'll give you a good joshing.
Okay. For the rest of this conversation, tune into the Lions Pride After Dark.
Hey, there you go. So, my last topic I want to touch on with you guys about tonight is the good old-fashioned mythological creatures. You know, people like Cass and his entire race. Mythological.
Mythological, mostly because I can't run far enough to complete a race. Now, there are others that are better runners than me. They are true racers. I am a mythological racer. Okay, maybe that was too obscure a joke.
So, Heather, what is your top mythological creatures that you adore?
Oh, Medusa is one.
Gorgons in general or Medusa specifically?
Just Medusa specifically. I love the fact that she can turn men into stone. She's very powerful and very, very woman-centered oriented. And whether you men like to believe it or not, us women are the future. No.
Actually, that is very, very true. As someone who's caught between, yeah. Mm-hmm. The animus is giving way to the anima, and it's about damn time. It's about 2,000 years late, actually.
Elvin says that he would love to retain you, Heather, as a consultant in all seriousness.
Have him reach out to me.
So you're gonna go with Medusa.
Yeah, I've always that, and I want to say, crap. Why am I drawing a blank? The ocean guy. I'm really showing my PhD now.
Let's see. We got Aquaman.
Not Aquaman.
Titan.
Poseidon. That's it.
We can talk about Aquaman. I would like to talk about Aquaman.
I'm sure you can find him in the bathtub, Cassidy.
In my imagination.
Is he riding a magic dolphin?
Oh my God!
And fade to black, everybody.
Part of this.
What about you, Cassidy? What are your top mythologicals?
I have to say I'm pretty obsessed with the mythology of Egypt. There's a lot more to it, but essentially I'm really keen on finding out the links that. Or what a lot of people think of as Egyptian gods are actually something called neters. They're actually concepts, and there's a link between the worship of gods and the understanding of neters that I think is very, very important. You see what I mean? I'm also very, very interested in mythological things like Tartarus, Tartarus, however you pronounce it. See, a lot of higher hyperdimensional beings, they're a person, but they're also a place, and they're also a concept, and they're also a song. And so I'm very interested in finding what binds the concepts of demigods, gods, things like that. What are you guys seeing? You see what I mean? So to that effect, I think my favorite mythological character would have to be Gilgamesh, specifically Enkidu. But and you would like Enkidu. You would like Enkidu. Enkidu is your kind of people, Brian.
Very nice, very nice. I would have to go with a good old-fashioned Minotaur. Yeah, I would love to engage in war with a group of Minotaurs by my side.
Thank you for that last part, because I was like, no, you don't.
And I'd have to say the Odin gods and goddesses. The whole Viking religion just actually has me fascinated. Could there really have been a man that could carry a hammer that nobody else in the world could carry. You know, could he throw said hammer at people and it'd retract like a boomerang?
Mhm.
I know I'm kind of jumping into Marvel shit now, but
Hey,
I
you know
mean,
what? It all came. They took their inspiration from something.
Yep.
exactly. All right, one last thing here, Heather. How many races of Bigfoot do you know?
How many what?
How many races or species of Bigfoot do you know?
That is not my area of expertise, even though I would like to learn more. And then just to throw this out there, this is a theory my son has because he does investigations with me, is that Bigfoot is the ghost of a caveman.
A giant caveman.
Yep.
That
A
could work.
red-headed
I have been
giant
thinking.
caveman.
No, yeah, that could work. That could work.
Yep.
It really could, because they're scared shitless of fire, just like cavemen. They like to draw on stuff, just like cavemen.
We don't always see them.
Like cavemen.
Mm-hmm.
They make neat little forts. They live off of the land. They eat what they can.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, what really astonishes me the most is that nobody has ever found a Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch, Ohio Grassman, whatever you want to call him.
Florida ape man.
Nobody. There you go. Now you're getting it. But nobody has ever found a corpse.
Yep. That's the interesting part behind that.
So how can they legitimately prove that a Bigfoot is real without an actual corpse?
There is actually some progress on that, and with a little bit of work, I think we can get to the bottom of that. There's a story of the particular subspecies of Sasquatch that lives in Siberia. There were stories of one that village had captured, and apparently has descendants. And according to the Russian government, this is true. It's just they won't release the burial place. Apparently, they know exactly where it is, and just they don't trust a particular team yet. You know, but apparently they're ready. They're ready to divulge what they have to the right team. You know, it's just the ego issue. Everybody wants to be the guy. You know.
Yep.
Before I would say that sounds like a job for the Warren Foundation, but since everybody knows U.S. and Russia are about to butt heads in the Ukraine, and China's back in Russia, and it's going to be a World War III where China and Russia try to take over the world, all going to break loose.
There is an angle actually that can be played there, and that is that Putin himself is very, very famously enamored of the UFO situation. There are actually certain artists in Russia that can get away with saying anything because Putin believes they're starseeds. If this is true, then the issue with America is irrelevant, you know, if this is true. Unfortunately, there's so much misinformation, you know, who knows? So Putin, give us a call.
Yeah, let's talk, buddy. I'm sure I can get a translator on my phone.
Yeah, and President Ping Ping, you too. Come on over. We got a little secret to tell you. Just a little secret.
And Eldon says Global United will gracefully take it. Now, Eldon, that did not sound at all right, buddy, for that moment of statement.
The question is, how much does Global United support me continuing to threaten China publicly? That's going to get us in trouble eventually, probably. Maybe.
Okay. I'm okay.
Did you almost die, or did I say something wrong?
No, what Eldon
yeah, you guys will gracefully take it. Here, I think I have some Oral Glide right over here somewhere. I promise
And
you I'm better behaved off the show.
on that note, Heather, is there anything you would like to add before we end this podcast tonight?
No, I think you guys covered it all. It's been very entertaining. I do have to admit that.
Now I have to ask you the question.
Mhm.
Is there a possibility of a round 2 for Heather PhD Landon to come back to the ShadowZone podcast in the future?
Yeah, you just got to have it earlier than 10 o'clock at night. No, I'm just kidding. It's a good thing I have no life and I'm home on a Friday night at this time.
Right. Oh, Eldon says he's referring to the Bigfoot case.
That did not make it better, Eldon. That did not make it. So now you're going to take the Bigfoot
Global United will gracefully take it from the Bigfoot case. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. A lot less dirty-minded there.
Yeah,
Cat,
I'm just thinking of Yoda and Chewie.
Cass, you got any last words before we end the podcast tonight?
Thank you, Heather, for being so personable. Normally people who can think scientifically have like this disconnect of humanity, and you don't seem to have that. Thank you.
I try.
Yes, you have been a fantastic guest tonight. You have dealt with our shenanigans all night with a beautiful smile on your face. And not very many people deal with our shenanigans very well.
That's because you're full of shenanigans.
It was a pleasure having you on, Heather. And everybody, tune in tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as we have a upcoming team, and they are hot to trot. We have Forget Me Not Paranormal tomorrow night. Heather, if you would like to continue this crazy conversation after I end this podcast, please don't go anywhere. What cat?
I just think for purposes, I know you guys are very humble, but just as the person who's the father of the child you're helping, I just want to point out that they're trying to help Shar survive. And that's this whole thing is part of this. So thank you guys.
Aww.
Hey,
that's beautiful.
That's what we're here for, brother. All right. Don't go nowhere, you two. We're going to rock and roll. Oh, good night, y'all.
Mm-hmm.